weeks, especially the past few weeks, I've been so busy working. I like to do on the weekends and the mornings while I'm sitting around drinking coffee for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. But yeah, it's like every few weeks, like I gotta do something. Would you like to update? God damn it!
All right, your mic's on.
Check one.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm gonna set a timer on this thing. See how long we're going. It's not much. You hear her outside the thing? All right. Go ahead and talk in your mic real quick.
Go downstairs, Eddie Pooh. Go downstairs.
Yeah, it's picking you up. Good deal. All right. Let me start the timer. Boom. Fuck. Let me double check. How do you ever? I don't know. Been thinking about it a lot. Here we're going. Yeah, no advertisement on the bottles.
I ain't doing shit.
Where's my check? Deer Park. All right. So, this is the second episode, All or Nothing Show. That is the name as of now. And still don't know the direction, but at least today we started off, or a while back I asked questions, like I mentioned in the first episode, on our social medias. So if you want to see more from us, definitely follow us on there at Gymflo _ or my personal one, A Pageman, or Jake. What's your Instagram?
_Jake Page.
_Jake Page. And when we throw up those boxes on the stories or a post, just make sure to chime in if you want to know more about what we're doing. Anywho, with this episode, I remember a question popping up of how Gymflo started. And I think that would be a good story to talk about with Jake, obviously, on here, but also maybe starting a little bit before that, because the two and two go hand in hand, is, I guess, sort of how we got into fitness as well, and then it transitioned into Gymflo. So with this one, we're going to start off from the beginning. Jake,
All right.
how did you start, or how did you get into fitness, and when? Like, when did you start?
Well, it almost started back in high school. I had a good friend of mine back then. He was lifting, I think it was like our senior year. He convinced me to come to the gym at Body Creations. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a old school bodybuilding gym off of old Staples Mill Road. Check it out. I still go there every now and then. But anyways, he got me to come out there like 5 a.m. before school. I think a couple times. I think it was 2 times in 1 week. I came twice in a row in our senior year, and 5 a.m. lifts were not for me. So I never went back until I think I want to say I was like 21 or 22, and I was working with another good friend of mine, and we decided to start going to the gym because I think we were both like 150 some pounds.
Yeah.
And yeah, I got tired of being the little skinny guy, so we started lifting. We started hitting the gym, and I remember when we started, we were benching. I think repping 25s on each side of the flat bench, the barbell flat bench, and like all we wanted to do was just get to one plate, a 45 each side, and that was the first goal, and it took us a little while to get there, but ever since then, I guess that was a few years.
And obviously you fell in love with it since that. You hit those goals like that, and you fall in love with it, and then you sort of get hooked.
Yeah, I mean, we saw the newbie gains, like just those fresh gains. Bodies ate it up.
Yeah.
Trying to eat more than, still partying a whole lot. So it wasn't, so much going on, but still. Now after that, I think I took a few years off because I had tendonitis in my elbows. I was a mechanic back then, and I'm always turning wrenches and using my hands and whatnot, or was. So I took a few years. I think it was like 6 years, because even like turning the shower on, turning doorknobs, everything just hurt, ached, and I just couldn't get around it. So I finally just stopped going.
Yeah.
Until finally I got back into it. I think like 7 years ago, and it's been all right ever since. Now I've cut back on the partying so much, and And you can't really, I can't do both. I don't have those genetics or whatever.
Can't be a rock star and a bodybuilder.
I'd love to be a rock star and a bodybuilder, but
so you'd say you've been lifting for over 10 years.
Yeah, on and off. 10
Yeah,
years,
gotcha. And getting back to the story, and I know all about it, and I'm sure a lot of y'all can relate. You have that first goal of, all right, let me start with the 25s on each side, and I want to get one plate on each side, and that's going to be sick. And you get to that, and you're like, well, then, damn, 2 plates. That 2 plates is awesome. Once I get there, I'm good. If I can rep that out, we're good. You get to 2 plates, and you're like, all right, 3. Like, it's crazy how you – it's crazy
you step in the gym,
how you get a taste.
You are forever too small.
Yeah, too small and too weak. Yeah, exactly.
That's how it is. Like, it's
exactly.
never ending. I mean, I'm very competitive, so I don't like being bad at anything. So, although I'm not saying I'm good at lifting weights, but
well, you still party here and there, and
it just depends on the seasons.
Yeah.
How things go.
Well, I guess I'd probably say I've been lifting about the same amount of time, maybe a few years less. I remember the first time I started going to the gym was back when I was going to school in Tappahannock, and there was a community college I went out there called RCC, and they had a gym specifically for the baseball team, and they would let students go in there if the baseball team wasn't training. And I went into this gym, and thinking back on it now, the gym was super outdated. Like, Nautilus machines, even though they weren't bad machines, these machines were like older than old. And I'd go in there. They had the simple upper body, lower body circuits, and I would just hop in there. I didn't know what I was doing, so every day I'd go in and just do the same circuit, upper body and lower body. Most of the time skipping the lower body a little bit, but hell, F that, dude. I'm trying to get a big chest, big arms, but and maybe some abs. So I would go through the circuit and literally just do the same thing every day because I just didn't know what I was doing. And I did that for maybe 6 months, and don't know if I really noticed much. Probably didn't because I really wasn't sticking to anything. I was just trying to beat myself up every day. And then after that, I got a membership at a YMCA right down the street from that. And I was going there at least 3 or 4 days a week in between school and whatnot. Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's across the river actually. So it was in Warsaw near the college over there. I'm not sure if it's still there, but it's not much bigger than the college gym that I was going to, which was maybe 1,000 square feet. It was very small. But the Y definitely had a lot more people in there because when I'd go work out at the college gym, there was never anybody in there. Like even the baseball players weren't in there, and nobody was ever in there. It was just dead silent, dust all over everything, barely ever got used. I doubt even the baseball players were using it. It was just bad. And so I started working at the Y for about a year maybe. And I'd go there. I met a couple people. Still really didn't know what I was doing, but I'd go in there. But I at least had a routine going where I was doing upper body and then lower body most days, trying, and still skipping on the lower body some days too, whatever. But and you know how it goes. But I ended up doing that, like I said, for about a year, and then I ended up getting in the rec, and that's when there was a big gap between the Y and getting in the rec, but I had moved up to Richmond by then, and or not to Richmond. I was about to move up to Richmond, and I was still training down at Tappahannock, but was going back and forth working out up in Richmond with Jake here and there. Not really consistently though, maybe 3 times a week. Yeah, a lot of partying, and then ended up getting in the rec, and that put me down for a while, obviously. And then I finally made the move up to Richmond, realizing that I just needed to get away from Tappahannock. There was a lot more opportunity, obviously, in the city. And plus, I don't know, I was ready for something different. So I started working out with Jake and them and the crew, the OG crew here in Mechanicsville at the Gold's Gym there. And like Jake, I was weighing 150 pounds and started working out with them and started eating a lot more, learning about nutrition and just needing to eat calories per se just to gain some weight. So I just started eating anything and everything a year or two in after getting here, and I jumped from 150, 160 up to 200 or 210. I think wasn't looking good, but it wasn't good. I was eating those Wawa mashed potatoes a lot. Easy, very good. But, yeah, so that's pretty much how I got into fitness. I mean, I definitely think the transition from the rec got me a little bit more serious and consistent in there. I realized that I needed more hobbies, better hobbies besides going out all the time. And
Yeah, when you got in that wreck, or after you got in the wreck, I was still partying every weekend, and you were. While I was laying in bed hungover, you were at the gym.
Yeah.
So you made leaps and.
And I remember, because I would go out. I'd go out too, but I just realized that you were worthless the next day, and not just you, but like anybody. You go out and you go hard like we did. We would go hard, and like you weren't doing anything. Like the next day, you might as well order some food and be ready to chill because you were not making it to the gym. And that's, I remember back then too. This makes you laugh because we would plan leg days for usually like Sundays and shit. I don't know if you remember, but like I feel like most of the time leg days would fall on like Sunday or whatever, and we'd go in there and get on the leg press and be like, F it. Or I don't know. I just feel like leg days revolved around that, or we tried to like punish ourselves for going out. So we would do leg days on those days, but
now I won't drink because of leg days.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I'm not leg days bad enough as it is, so I don't need to be hungover for it on top of it.
And it's, I guess, because we knew like leg days weren't serious anyway, so we were like, fuck it.
I didn't take legs serious until I think it was like we did that. I think we did that competition in the strong weight class in 2013. I want to say.
Yeah.
And so like I didn't really hit legs for real, and even when I did start hitting them for real, I didn't know what I was doing. But I think it was like a year before that. I didn't have legs in that show.
Oh, me neither. I remember going into that show, and this was back in 2013, probably. Yeah, it's 2013 of the summer, like May. And I remember telling you, or it might have been Joe, somebody, I was like, I hadn't really worked legs at all before this show, but I'm going to make sure if they're not the biggest, they're going to be the cuttest legs. And damn, I look back at some pictures, they were peeled, but they were like the size of my arms back then. Yeah, they didn't, the SpongeBobs. They weren't looking good, dude. But, yeah. Yeah, that show was definitely a eye-opener and a learning experience to realize that you just can't, I don't know. We just, all of us didn't do it the right way.
No, like I definitely stopped listening to Joe and started listening to other people, and then I just ended up winging it.
Yeah.
Almost quit like 3 weeks out.
I underate, I feel like, and I definitely look stringy, and I don't know. Did a lot of hella cardio, man. Like, hella cardio. Like, I was doing like 2 hours a day for like 4 or 5 weeks, and it was just, because we'd wake up at crack ass of dawn, go to AmFam at 4 in the morning, and then do another hour of cardio. Damn, I think the camera just might have cut off. Hold on. Only record for like 10 minutes. That's what it looks like. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure this out. Yeah, because it's probably about 10 minutes in. God dang it. Dog it. Well, anyways, we're back. Camera's on. And,
we were talking about legs before that show.
Yeah. Well, anyways, getting serious into the gym, we probably, I'd say, like you said, maybe the last like 6 years serious, and then like maybe the last 5 like super serious, which has been like 5 or 6 maybe since 2013. Definitely been training equally the whole body.
Yeah, I've been trying to get those legs to catch up.
Yeah, your legs have blown up a lot for real.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, no. All right, so when I take back equally. So maybe he's hitting legs, but he ain't hitting down.
Every time I post a picture, somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, look at those calves! Look at those shins and calves!" Like, I know. You act like I don't know.
Well, it's unfortunately you built your quads up so big that they make your calves look that much worse. So you need to stop hitting the quads, or just start doing triple down on the calves. Yeah. I think that's what Carl from the Nutrition Corners. I see him on Instagram talking about. He goes in strictly does calf days, which might be you might want to hit him up.
I need to have calf weeks. These bad boys. Ain't on the much.
But I guess getting back to that, so like we've been in the fitness, working out, trying to get better, like the past 10 years at least, 10 plus years, and that sort of translates into Gymflo, because I guess how that sort of started off was I was working for my mom. We both were. We were doing court work and whatnot. I don't want to bore anybody, but anyways, we were doing stuff for the courthouses and law firms around Richmond. And I wasn't losing money. I was losing work, and I was definitely just getting by on stuff. So I didn't want to spend money at Vitamin Shop or GNC, and I think we went to Vitamin Shop a lot and bought pre-workouts there.
Yeah,
And I was always the discount rack. Yeah, the sale, the discount table. That's where I'd get my pre-workout. Every now and then I'd ball out and buy like a regular priced pre-workout. But most of the time I was seeing what's on sale, which obviously wasn't the best.
I can't remember what I used to take. It was something that was a black bottle with yellow writing on it, and I used to love the pumps I'd get from it. That or I think it was the 1MR.
Yeah, 1MR was good.
Back then, it was always on sale.
I forgot. There's a few others, and I probably couldn't think of them off the. Yeah, Jacked obviously was an OG. There was a few other pre-workouts that I think have come and gone throughout Vitamin Shop, but 1MR was an easy go-to. Whatever had tingles, and that was what I was looking for back then. Tingles were king, and they still are king for me.
I love them. I know when I start tingling, I gotta go.
Yeah, but getting back to like the transition, which was, I don't know, a little bit. Shoot, I might have stopped it. There we go. I'm messing up this whole thing.
I don't know how you've ever done this before.
I don't know, right? We were already 15 minutes in, so we're a minute longer than I've gone before. But getting back to like the story of how Gymflo started, goodness, is that I came home from work one day. Obviously, I was low on money, and I was like, man, what's a way that we can make our own pre-workout and product for cheap, obviously, and potentially maybe have other people maybe get it from us, and then it would just obviously.
I'm pretty sure it was just a straight up like, hey, how can we save money on pre-workout?
Oh yeah, most definitely, most definitely.
Text. I remember you texted me one day, and you were like, hey, do you want to try and make a pre-workout? Just order
the raw ingredients.
Raw ingredients in bulk. And of course, you were pretty broke. I don't know how much. I think we spent $70.
Yeah, $70.
With the like 4 ingredients.
Yeah.
Caffeine, beta-alanine, creatine, and arginine.
Yeah. And I remember I'd Googled and I'd researched a lot of like manufacturers that sold raw bulk ingredients and whatnot, and we were doing the math and whatnot to see how much a tub would cost us to make, so and see like how many tubs we could make. And I think the first run made us like 3 or 4 tubs. And we ordered it in. I Googled like a bottling company that sold bulk bottles so we could tub it. And then...
No, we didn't even get that far yet.
We didn't?
First we were just like, yeah, let's just let's play with this formula.
I guess we did just get the powder in.
We were just mixing it every day.
Yeah, you're right.
Like we had this little, we bought this
You're
little
right.
baby scale, this little tiny scale.
Yeah, a little weed scale.
Yeah, and we were making it on the countertop at home. White powder everywhere. And I remember like... both of us, like the first day we took it, like we like kind of cheers on it. It's like, hey, hope we don't die.
Getting back to that story, we're idiots to begin with. We were doing math, and my math you don't want to see. And Jake, he thinks he's overconfident in math, and we were doing the math on like, obviously when you're dealing with raw caffeine, it can get quite dangerous quickly. When we had a kilo of it sitting there. And we were like, all right, well, let's use the little scale that we got off Amazon. Who knows if that's even... We didn't calibrate it, but after we bought it, we didn't buy the weight to calibrate it, so we were just hoping it was right. And we were like, all right, so we went this amount of creatine, this amount of beta-alanine, and, about 250 milligrams of caffeine per scoop or per serving. So we weighed it out, and I weighed mine out, I weighed Jake's out, and we were like, well, shit, man. We sat there before we shot it. We were like... I guess we're doing this. Somebody's got to do it, see if it's good. So we both did it at the same time, and on the ride to the gym, I deep down, low key, was like, I hope I don't die, because that shit, like, it's been a few minutes. There's no way I could puke it back up. It's in, it is in, and we're gonna take this rod. But after that, we realized it was pretty good. We ended up bumping, I think, the beta-alanine up a little bit because we love tingles.
That and didn't we bump up the caffeine too?
Might have been. Yeah, I think we kept it around 250. But overall, for like a makeshift kitchen pre-workout, like it was good.
Yeah,
it gave you a little bit of energy. Obviously, everything, most of the other things were underdosed at the time, which we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We just wanted some tingles. We wanted a little kick in the ass. But next thing we knew, we were looking into a little bit more about it because we started, I guess, giving it out to people, and people really liked it, and they were like, "Yo, y'all should start maybe making this. I'll buy it."
I was like, "Dude, I'd buy this."
Yeah, so we looked into how to flavor, or I didn't even look into that. I just knew that Walmart sold water flavoring. It's like, duh, that's how you flavor it. You'd buy some water flavor. And so we went to Walmart. Yeah. So I think the math ended up being like a gram and a half of flavoring per scoop. And, with Walmart's flavoring sources, you could have like 20 different flavors. But I think we ended up having like 5 or 6 flavors. But, and then once we realized that maybe we could start, selling a few, and then obviously that would pay for our return so we could just have free pre-workout ourselves. Looked into bottling, found a manufacturer up in New York. I forgot the name, but bottling company, scoopers, and whatnot.
I wish we had the old tub sitting around.
Yeah, I don't have one here, but
we used to print off the labels.
Yeah.
And like packaging tape it to the outside of the little tub, and then right on there with highlighter of the like close to the same color of the flavor.
Yeah.
And that was it.
I mean, this handmade kitchen pre-workout, Breaking Bad.
Homebrew.
Extra emphasis on the bad. It was, I mean, it was literally as shady as it could be, but we thought it was cool at the time. And thinking back when it was cool how it all started, even though it's probably not the best way and best route to do things. You gotta make things happen in this world. So that's the way it happened. So after, and over time, we did like make more legit labels to where they were actually like, we got them some labels made, through David.
Stickers that just actually were legit.
And we added in moisture packets, and we added in like the heat seal shrink wrap, so like to make sure when you got a tub, it hadn't been opened before, even though that really didn't matter because I was making it or he was making it by hand. So regardless, you just had to trust us that we weren't dumping in some beard hair or whatever else on the kitchen counter. So I will say there was one scare one time. It's probably more than that, but there's one off the top of my head where we probably would have killed somebody with some overdose on caffeine. So it's a cool little side story. It's cool because nobody died. But, Landon was the one to get it, and I'm sure if he thought back, he'd remember it. But so I made the tub. I'll take the responsibility for that. I made the tub, and I guess I wasn't paying attention when I was putting in the caffeine. And I definitely doubled the caffeine, which 500 still isn't that much in compared to what's out there now. But I guess I must not have shook it up enough and whatnot, and they hit a pocket.
30 grams of caffeine in there instead of the...
Yeah. I could have... I don't know. I just know that there was way more stimulants that needed to be in there because Landon and his buddy took it one day, and he hit me up. He was like, yo, they called the rescue squad to my house because the dude was puking all the time. Or he couldn't stop puking, couldn't go to sleep. I think, his dad's in the rescue squad, so his dad came out. And I was like, damn, not good.
Give us that.
Not good. So, fortunately, I was like, yo, give me the tub back, and I'll see what the deal is. So, I wasn't willing to take it, so Jake was like, fuck it. I'll take the bitch. And Jake.
I could not stop talking. Like, I went in the gym, and I was, like, profusely sweating. And all, for the first, 30 minutes, all I did was walk around and talk because I just could not sit still. I was, it was fucked up. I don't know what he did, but it wasn't right.
Yeah, I messed up, and that was definitely a wake up point to where I was like, damn, I need to pay attention, and
we almost killed people.
Definitely changed up like the system of putting in ingredients, making sure the caffeine went in at a certain time, so like I wasn't focusing on anything else except that. But that's pretty much the shake and bake pre-workout that we had going on. Literally mixing all the ingredients, flavoring, and then sitting walking around the apartment with 2 tubs.
Right, yeah.
We'd watch TV and we'd be shaking the tubs up because in the manufacturer they have a tumbler that mixes the raws, and we would just sit there shaking them up. Horrible. But thinking back, that was not cool, but cool. Hopefully nothing ever comes back from that.
It took me hours to come down from that.
Yeah, I remember you were.
Crazy tea.
Yeah, I remember you were pissed.
It was bad.
Yeah, learning experience on that one. But don't get it twisted. We definitely get our products made in a GMP certified facility. So there's nothing that should be popping up in our products in our manufacturer third party tests. All of their raw ingredients that comes in. But getting from that, we definitely evolved. We ended up moving a lot more product than we ever thought we would. A couple hundred units, at least 300 to 400 units, and then finally, word of mouth. Somebody had hit up a guy named Joe who was down at a Gold's Gym somewhere, and he was starting up a supplement shop. And he had reached out to us on social media and was like, hey, I hear y'all are making some pre-workout. Y'all are local. I'd love to meet up with y'all and see what we could do to get y'all on the shelf once I start my store. So we met up with them, And he helped us out with, making more legit labels and whatnot, and making it look a little bit more shelf pretty, I guess. More appealing, not so handwritten and sloppy. But anyways, a few months go by, we start selling in his store. We were doing pretty well just off of, even though it was not a clinical, quote-unquote, pre-workout, like, it was still, like, moving with some of the big dogs already. Yeah, and, like, camera turned off. 1 second. This is the last time.
Has it been 10 minutes already?
Yeah. 24 minutes in.
Bitch. But yeah, like it was still like, it's not a fully dosed. I mean, we weren't, anything we had in there was dosed, like clinically dosed, but we just didn't have much in there. It was still 4 or 5 ingredients, and that was it.
Yeah. So and
it just didn't. I mean, it surprised. I think the only reason why I did sell was because it was a local brand.
Yeah. And that helps a lot, and we're grateful to have like people that really fuck with us that are from Richmond and whatnot, and even outside of Richmond, they just realize
some good friends that were pretty loyal.
Like, yeah, for sure, and we still have them. But I think people just realize, or really mess with people that are starting off that are small and just trying to make something, and it was really cool to see us being on shelves for the first time with other brands that I'd never even heard of, and just knew that they were $1 million brands. But a few months go by, Joe obviously had some connections with his shop for other brands and manufacturers and designers, and he brought up the idea of us sort of getting our products made more legit, and really taking it to the next level. And from the get-go, day one, like true is that we never thought. No. I don't know. I never thought I would get to this. I never did.
Make our own pre-workout, so we wouldn't have to buy as much.
Yeah, it would always.
A lot of money.
We would just be able to have some pocket money to make our own. But people loved it so much, and we realized that we would be able to make it more legit and more efficiently doing it this way, even though it would cost a lot more capital up top. That we would put together a bigger plan, a more structured plan of making almost like an overhaul of the brand. We came up with like 4 different products, maybe 5. I'm trying to think. So we had All or Nothing, Built to Burn, Gymflo, Overcome, and then a creatine. So that's 5 products right there. Coming from, I think when we made it ourselves, we had 3 products. We had Gymflo, which was our pre-workout at the time. Then we had Gymflo, which is our pump product that I came out after the pre-workout started moving so much. Then we had also the creatine monohydrate product as well. And so we did, it was a big jump, and I'm glad we aren't hand making them anymore, because god damn, that would take forever to make one tub.
Yeah,
very tedious. Yeah, very tedious.
It was definitely a chore, but I mean, it was fun, because I mean, it was still. I think I remember the first bodybuilding competition we went to, or like the first event we ever went to.
Yeah.
And, like set up a booth at. And,
wasn't that was the OCB show?
OCB show at Maggie Walker High School.
Yeah, I think it's called the Super Show.
Yeah.
Richmond Super Show.
It was awesome. Like, I mean, no one knew who we were, but we were there giving out samples. I think by then we had made a bunch of shirts and tank tops and hats. And no one bought the pre-workout, but they bought a bunch of the swagger, the hats and shirts.
I think that show, because I came out for a little bit and then I had to run, but we had like people like Laurel and Carla was out there.
Gayla was there too.
Gayla was out there, and like I think even Gene Ross came through for a little bit, but
That's right.
It was like that was our biggest show and we've ever done, and I think. I don't remember the total, but I think we made a couple $100 at that show. I think it was $600 or $700. I think.
It was a good day.
And that was like an eye opener to me. I mean, I don't think I ever like mentioned it, but I was like, damn, man, like there could be a lucrative business out of this, Not that was the main intention. Obviously, you want to make money because our money's getting put into this, but it was like, damn, that was pretty awesome for a couple hours to make $600 or $700 in sales. Which nowadays, you go to most shows, you probably aren't going to make that. I mean, you might not. Especially if you go into a local show, and that's our first year. There was our first year into this new reform with Joe being a partner of ours back then. We doubled down on shows. We spent probably at least $5 or $10 grand on visiting shows. Every show, like if a promoter hit us up, we were doing it. $500 a pop, $250 here.
Where's that one in?
Connecticut.
No, not Connecticut. The one we Baltimore.
Yeah, Baltimore.
It was an MPC Pro show.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know, it was a lot. I think it was like $750 or $1,000.
Yeah. I think it was it was like 700. I think.
Either way, it was. I mean, it was cool. But
It was cool, but don't you like?
Didn't no one knew us. We were such a small brand, and
Yeah.
we were outside of Richmond, so no one knew who we were. So we didn't hardly sell anything.
And like, yeah, it's a total side note at the moment, and I'll get back to like the OCB show and that point. But like, a lot of people do hit us up or just mention us and be like, "Hey, man, are you y'all gonna be setting up at this show or that show?" And I don't mean to be like, "Oh, we're too good for these shows." It's just it's for a brand of our size. That's not like it's not a good move for us to be able to like dump a couple $100 into that. Not even cutting even usually on most of these shows. And our first year, like I said, we dumped at least $7,000, maybe even close to $10,000 in total money to get up to some of these shows.
We met a ton of people.
Yeah.
We had a lot of connects that way, but at the same time, like it wasn't. It cost way more than we were getting out of it at the time, and like I mean, it was of course it was always great to be in front of new faces and new people that had no clue who we were, but it was we weren't getting anything back on it, and we couldn't afford to not get anything back on it yet at that time. And
Yeah.
still really can't. But well, shows are there are a lot more of them nowadays, so it's kind of a watered down process. Like there's a show every other weekend here and there, and
Yeah, especially during the season.
So there's a lot less competitors, which means a lot less fans, and a lot less just random people that attend these shows. So it's harder to. I mean, it's not harder. It's just not. It's not like it used to be. Put it that way.
Yeah.
It used to be a few hundred people to go watch these things, and now it's.
And
you might get 70 competitors.
I'm still all about supporting local shows like this because we started off with kind of a local show, the one in Maryland. But I mean, I'd be more willing to like give free product to the show and just be able to like pay that way, and also be able to have the show be able to give their athletes and competitors something more than just a trophy for winning, maybe some product or some swag. But shows it's just and it's I understand their business as well, but it's just. The return isn't there anymore unless you're doing those huge shows and you have a big marketing budget, to be able to do this.
What was that brand used to have? Like it would be like 7 chicks walking around in miniskirts.
I don't think they're around anymore, but I think they're called.
I feel like they always did well, but they had a crew there.
Yeah, I forgot the name. Yeah, they would always I feel like they did well, but they definitely faded off quick. I don't even know what their brand was called anymore, but yeah, I remember seeing them. Damn, it's on the tip of my tongue. Chrome Sups, that's it. Chrome Sups. Yeah. But they were around back when we first started, and they were on the show circuit a lot. And I understand, some of these bigger companies can afford to do it again, like I said, but unless you have the budget and you're paying all the other bills on the back end and you still got money left aside, then yeah, we could play with it. But since we're still in a growing phase and we're still small, like just like any other business, you got to play your money right and smart, because at the end of the day, this is a business, not just like a
shows we go to and who we get in front of. If we don't have products to sell to these people,
yeah, the product has to be reordered, inventory. And we learned the hard way on that because we spent that's so much money that could have been put into new product or just inventory, keeping our products up, because you see products come and go from us, and it's tough to like learn the balancing act of like when to reorder this or how to save or when to save this money for that because this is getting low. And some of these, obviously, our products are expensive, They take a lot of money up front to put in a big order and get inventory for them. So they're not, just your dime of the dozen GNC or Vitamin Shop product. Not to say that those are bad, but our products are expensive. Just that's it. So they cost a lot to make. So it takes a budget, definitely, and we're learning that.
We've learned a lot of things the hard way.
Yeah. But getting back to the growth, the OCB show, that was awesome. That was a big turning point for us. And then shortly after that, that's when we met with Joe and we had the plan of reforming the whole brand. And I remember us meeting at a coffee shop. We met a few times trying to think of names for products.
Yeah, that's right.
And we were just sitting down and like Joe would say, oh, let's just think of like random songs that you like, and think of the name of the song. Let's look up your favorite band or whatever. And we just started throwing out names. I remember I had like a yellow notepad with like 20 different names on it. And
That's right.
it was just like we had some of the most outlandish names for products on there, but I'm glad we went with the ones that we went with. They do have some meaning to them. They're not just like, the word crack, or they're not just like, they have some meaning, and I feel like they do fall behind the brand, like All or Nothing and No False Claims, and Built to Burn, that had a good meaning behind it, and Overcome, they're strong words and strong sayings, so it's stuff that like fit well, and I'm glad we ended up finding them and going with them. But after that, we ended up getting into some retailers besides Joe's shop back then, and we started getting obviously a lot more following as we got into his shop and started growing outside of that, and had our website built because we never really had a true website. And this was 3 years in now. That was at least
We
3.
never had a website at all.
Yeah, like our first 2 years, we didn't really have a website, or if we did, nobody ordered from it. Like it wasn't an ordering website; it wasn't able to take or accept money. And yeah, we had a website. It was, but you couldn't check out. Like you had to like email us off the website to order.
That's right.
Yeah, and it was the most inefficient website ever. So like I'm surprised that we even
made it work.
Yeah, but
That's right.
we ended up getting a website set up and getting things more legit. And with the new reach and following that we were getting, I made the trip down to a few of the nutrition corners throughout Virginia because we realized that they could be a great partner of ours, and we could obviously have more reach with them and have some of our fans go to their stores. So ended up making a road trip and visiting a lot of the stores and meeting a lot of the general managers, which was awesome and cool experience. And we ended up pulling the accounts with the nutrition corners. We've been working with them ever since. And it's sort of like it. And I mean, obviously I've made road trips and built more partnerships since then, but it's like, it's just us. It's literally still just been me and Jake since day one. And, we've had help from some ambassadors and whatnot, and we're grateful for that. Like people like Brock, Maddie, Chris, Brandon, even like Ethan back in the day, and some of the other athletes, they were a huge help back then. And, people come and go, and that's okay.
It's like some people since day one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no.
Laurel's been around since day
Yeah,
one.
a huge help. I mean, there's a ton that we probably couldn't even think of off the top of our heads right now. Yeah, loyal. And it's been awesome to build that and still have people around since day ones for real. And it's still just us. It's a small clique, and we're still trying to grow it. And it's a learning process for sure. I feel like we still haven't even cracked the surface on just starting yet. We're still just doing it on our free time. Jake works a full-time gig, and I train in the mornings for the longest time. I was working a full-time gig training at the gym, and now I've cut back to where I'm working for myself, and I go in and I train in the mornings, but most of the time I've been trying to devote my evenings towards this, and either getting orders out or making content and whatnot, which
Austin pretty much runs most of this show here.
It's just
Gymflo is basically Austin right now.
it still hasn't we haven't even hit our stride yet, and not to say that we aren't going to, but because we haven't quit.
No, we've had some hiccups along the way, some minor and major setbacks
Yeah.
along the way. So, but now I feel like we're finally back on track, and things are.
Yeah. 1 second. Pause.
They won't know it.
I think the battery fucking died. The camera sucks. We haven't used the camera fucking forever.
No, like I said, I was just saying. I feel like we're after all the minor and major setbacks, we're finally back on track and kind of moving the way things were moving before, like getting in new shops and whatnot, and just having an inventory, having plenty of stuff in stock to be able to sell.
Yeah.
And promote and try to get out there and spread the word and I guess really grow out of state.
Most definitely.
Because I mean, I feel like we're pretty well known in Richmond, but we want to be known.
Obviously, yes.
Outside of Richmond,
Yes.
Virginia, and then the nutrition corners and the other few stores outside of Virginia that we're in.
Yeah.
We want to grow. We want to be across the country.
Oh, for sure. And I think the way we've been going, picking up new partners and fam to the Gymflo team, it's only gonna get more awareness out there. So and anything like this that we're trying to think on the long. Obviously, we looking back on it, if anybody looking from the outside, we have not like made a bunch of money. We aren't like paying our bills with this at all by any means. So it's like
never taken a Gymflo paycheck.
Yeah. So it's like we realize it's going to be a long game, and everything in life is uncertain. So we don't know how long it may take, but we just know that chipping away at it daily or weekly or monthly and trying to just get the word out there steadily is how you do it. And we because when we first started, we both thought we were going to be quitting our jobs within 6 months, and
it got to a point when it was rolling. We thought you were going to have to quit and go full time in this.
Yeah. Well, even when we started a business plan, we were all talking about how we were going to quit our jobs probably within 6 months, and it was going to be tenfolding on hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the way the math looked. Oh yeah, things. Yeah, when you're selling, you don't take. It doesn't matter what plan you have. It's never gonna. You can have a plan, but it's more so you're taking it day by day. That's the plan. You're gonna be taking it day by day. But like Jake said, we've had some hiccups. What I call learning experiences for sure, and you learn what to do and what not to do, and we're still learning what not to do daily. But and that's part of the process, part of the game. But overall, I'd say that we're definitely on. We've got traction. We're starting to get back on the rails, and not that we've gone too far off, but and maybe we're our own worst critic, but we're definitely doing much better, and definitely looking forward to more with Gymflo and new products and whatnot that we're talking about coming out with, new flavors. It's just only getting better.
Definitely.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of it for like the over.
Somebody had asked how the Gymflo name even came about, and
you know what, that is right.
I guess we talked about this. Could have talked about this.
Yeah.
About 30 minutes ago. But
so, how did the name Gymflo start up?
I can't remember. I think we were both just trying to. Once we decided that we had enough friends that wanted to buy it, we were gonna try to come up with a name. So we could put on these tubs, and we were just throwing random names around, and like nothing really stuck. But I think we were just looking at hashtags or something.
Yeah.
And I think one of the first ones I threw out was Gymflo.
Yeah.
Not had a W, because a lot of people hashtag Gymflo.
Yeah.
And of course we were all about the Gymflo at the time and getting in there and getting their shit done. But
I remember it. And I remember I was coming up with a few names. I had like a little list on my laptop of a few names, like Mayo this or this that. And there's Page One Nutrition and all these other things. And when he said Gymflo at first, I didn't really like it. Like deep down, I truly didn't like it at first. Because when you first said it, it wasn't like, all right, that day, like we went with it. It was after a few days of like, I think I did looking at Instagram, and there's already like 40,000 hashtags of Gymflo and whatnot, and then the meaning behind it, and people just saying it. It was just such a word that anybody and everybody says, Gymflo, workflow, it just went. So it was like, why not use that and go with it? And plus, it's not like a bunch of syllables. It's Gymflo. Yeah, so short, sweet. No nutrition or labs on the end of it. We just wanted it Gymflo. It could be, a complete lifestyle brand. It's not just which obviously we are a supplement company, but it can be more than that, and it is more than that.
Yeah, so that ended up sticking.
Yeah.
Got rid of the W.
Yeah.
I think you said the other day we couldn't afford it.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Everybody. So, for example, a side note for that is that when you're building a website, and I'm sure if you've ever done that in the past, you've realized that it can get ridiculous, like retarded out there, price-wise. So if you have something like a very, I guess, relevant word or name for your company, somebody's probably already bought it, and they want some money for it. So,
using it or not,
yeah.
Bought it.
So Gymflo.com, I remember being,
like $20,000 or something.
I think it was like $5,000 or $7,000. I think.
That's right.
So it's like $5,000 or $7,000 for Gymflo.com. Gymflo.co, $10. You can tell which one we went with. So maybe down the road we'll hit the guy up and get the .com. But for right now, that is outrageous. And I'm sure there's other stories out there. People like buying up websites, and people have lucrative businesses doing that.
It's crazy out there, man.
you know, if you can just think of like what's about to pop off, like if somebody would have thought of, take for example bodybuilding.com, since we're talking about supplements. If you would have thought of that, like, man, let me go ahead and buy up bodybuilding.com, or like, you know, because that might be a thing. Bodybuilding, it's like if you would have bought that and that company would have realized that you could have sold it to them for 10, 20 grand, depends on how much, you know. Yeah, they're huge. So it's examples like that. I mean, it's crazy out there what all you can make money off of. But anyways, yeah. So that's why we couldn't afford the W or the M. But anyways, I did have one question on Instagram, and this is getting back to an answer thing that I put up on my personal page. So again, if you aren't following us, follow us, because I'd love to get some questions from you. But I did get one from Brock, the dude Brock. So thank you, buddy, for the questions. And Jake hasn't read it yet because obviously it's on my personal page. But who's the stronger brother? Oh, shit. Now, who thinks they're stronger and who's actually stronger, I don't know.
Well, I'm going to talk more shit and not do anything about it. I think Austin can outbench me pretty easily, but the rest of it, I think we're pretty even, Steve.
I'd say for squat and deadlift, I'd say we're probably right. It would just depend on who was more pissed off at the moment to probably lift.
Remember we did that squat, deadlift, bench. It was almost like a powerlifting competition.
Yeah, that was a while ago. We're talking. I think he probably wants recent though.
That was a few years ago.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, we both.
They made us do like a tiebreaker.
Yeah, because we were.
And we tied doing pull-ups.
Yeah.
So I think that's still never been finished.
Yeah, we may have to do something here soon, and then maybe at the next party in the gym we'll have to do maybe not a squat, bench, deadlift, because that'd be a lot going on. But maybe we'll have to do just raw strength. Maybe obviously a deadlift's a good one to go with. So I'm not trying to blow my knees out with a squat. my knees are.
I will to win.
But definitely, I guess overall we're close to the same.
Like get a Gymflo tattoo.
Yeah. Oh damn, that'd be a good one. All right, and next question from Brock was, what was y'all's first pre-workout? What was yours?
First one I ever took?
First ever took. Can you remember?
I want to say it was like Nano Vapor or something. I think that's what it was. It was one.
It sounds like Muscle Tech.
It was, back then, man, it used to get me rocking. Like
yeah.
That was before when I first started lifting, and I had a buddy of mine named Andre. I think he lives out in California now, but he used to work at GNC, and I'd go in there and buy like $200 worth of supplements. Yeah. And I hope this doesn't get him in trouble, but then
go ahead.
I get all the pre-workout, the creatine, all the supplements, the protein, and everything else. Keep just a select few things, the cheapest stuff, and then take it all back because he was supposed to get rid of it or destroy it, and then he'd just bring the rest home. I give him money. The
old switch.
He'd bring the open containers back to me because he's destroyed them.
Yeah.
But I want to say I was taking nano vapor.
Nano vapor.
Vapor, nano. I can't remember. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it sounds like a Muscle Tech. I feel like they made Nano Vapor a while, like years ago, 10, 11 years ago. My first pre-workout, and I'm dead serious, don't truly remember, but I remember like the first two that I was dabbling with. But I'd have to say my first pre-workout was No Explode, or NO Explode by BSN. Do you remember that was a red tub?
Yeah. No, I tried that. I took that too.
So it's NO Explode, and literally, like that's the name, it would explode, because if you put it in a bottle or a shaker and you shook it up, that shit would fucking boom! Like, make your bottle pregnant.
Yeah, don't lay your bottle down.
But obviously, if you ever went to Jacked back then, 10 plus years ago, Jacked would have you cracked.
Man, it was cheap. It was $30
yeah, it was ridiculous. And that was the craziest. I would always, I literally, another side story and we'll be done, but I remember I was working out at a gym down in Tappahannock, and I was having a bad day, not like mentally, but just like with the weights. And I just couldn't, I just wasn't feeling it. I couldn't push the weight I was pushing the last week before and bench and stuff. And I was talking to the dude about it. He's like, man, maybe you didn't eat enough, or maybe you didn't drink enough. And he was an older guy. He was smart. He knew how to lift. He knew it probably was food, or it probably was hydration or sleep. I was like, nah, it's because I didn't take my Jack today. So I left the gym. Rode over to the GNC, which is 30 minutes away. Bought Jack. They were selling. It was at Rite Aid, so the Rite Aid had a GNC inside of it. I bought Jacked the original with the DMAA and all that stuff in it. They were selling it at Rite Aid. Bought it, went back to the gym, scooped it, didn't do any more with the weights, but I did feel much better. It felt great, but yeah, I thought it was all that. So I literally left the gym, went and picked up some jack, came back to the gym and tried to hit it. That's pretty funny thinking back on that. But I'd have to say mine was definitely Inno Explode. Loved it back then. Probably would not like it that much now. It's still around though.
Yeah, I think I haven't been into a GNC.
Yeah.
Or any, I've been shopping for years, but no, I think it was Inno Explode or I want to say it was Nano Vapor. Was
Yeah.
The first thing I ever tried.
And
It was intense.
yeah. All right, y'all. Well, I guess that's it for this episode. Hopefully we didn't like miss a bunch or skip out on a lot of details because there was a lot more. I'm sure we could talk about hours of like breaking down the trials and tribulations of growing a business and Gymflo by itself. But that was pretty much the quick rundown. It's been about what we started in late 2013 maybe 2014. So it's been at least 5, if not close to 6 years since we've been in business, and just steadily growing by word of mouth, which has been awesome. And thank you all. If you have taken Gymflo in the past or ever at all,
We love you. Thank you.
please just recommend it to a friend. That would be our Christmas wish. If you've ever enjoyed any of our products, just recommend it. We would love it because that's how we've grown from word of mouth, you guys. So if that I guess is the end of it. I don't really know how to end it.
If y'all, if there's anything we missed,
Yeah. If you have anything,
hit us up.
yeah. And follow us. Make sure to follow us. And I'm going to be throwing up more questions box on our social medias. So make sure to ask us any questions you'd like to know and who else maybe you'd like to have us on. Because this is the first time me having both mics. Fuck. There goes the thing. One more. This motherfucker. All right, before the camera got cut off, that's the last time it's happened. I'm still learning how to do this, rigged up. If y'all saw the other side, this is all rigged. This place is rigged. But anyways, if you have any questions, ask us in the comments below. Share it if you'd like to, and hope y'all enjoyed it. Hopefully you can maybe get something out of this, and yeah, we'll see you next time. Peace.